What's up, guys? It's your man, Donovan Sharpe, and welcome to this edition of Sharpe Shorts. Make sure you sign up for my newsletter. Make sure you sign up for my newsletter at donovansharpe.com/newsletter in the event that my channel gets axed again. That's donovansharpe.com/newsletter. And when you sign up for my newsletter, you will get a free copy of my ebook, 16 Ways to Immediately Disqualify Her for a Long-Term Relationship. Again, donovansharpe.com/newsletter. And you will go ahead and get that ebook. Okay, let's go ahead and get right to it, guys. Cynthia G had a guest on her channel a couple days ago who goes by the name of the CBP channel. The CBP channel. Now, I'm not too familiar with this guy other than the fact that he is from New Zealand and has a seething hatred for this men's community. He doesn't really seem to like us that much, which is fine. We got a lot of people who aren't exactly our biggest fans. So if we take a real quick look at his channel, there I am front and center, right? It's obvious that he is another, really in kind of a long line of self-improvement haters who characterizes what men like myself do as destructive or damaging, right? Any adjective that has a negative connotation, this guy uses it to describe what we do here. He actually, a couple months ago, as you guys can see there on the left-hand side, he's got the dating coach Civil War. Quite an interesting video there. Guys like him seem to be increasing in numbers. And to me, that's pretty sad. That's really sad to see that. The men that I collaborate with, they are about helping men to become the very best versions of themselves in order to live the very best lives they can live. That was weird. That was really weird. Guys like me discuss the importance of fitness. We discuss the importance of financial literacy and anything else that pertains to self-improvement for men. Well, what guys like him seem to have a problem with is the fact that we consistently point out unflattering truths about women. Guys like this do panel shows that are solely based on talking about how terrible we are in this men's community. They like to group us all in and label us as dating coaches. Now, first off, I'm not a dating coach. I've done plenty of videos about how to date smarter here in the 21st century, but I'm not a quote-unquote dating coach. When guys like this sort of throw this label on us, they are attempting to marginalize our message. Right? They want the world to believe that we are nothing more than mystery method copycats. According to them, according to guys like this CBP guy, we're all Tyler Durden, Neil Strauss, Ross Jeffries wannabes. Shout out to those guys, but their time's passed. Well, what these guys also do to marginalize us and our message is exactly what the mainstream media has done, which is to highlight the lowest common denominator and use that as the true representative of who and what we are as a community. As far as they're concerned, every man who consumes this kind of content is an incel loser who lives in his mother's basement, spanks the monkey to cartoon movies, who's never gotten laid and is angry at the world for not having what he feels he deserves. Now, to be fair, there are plenty of men just like this in our ranks. It would be highly disingenuous of me to proclaim that every single man in our community is a super alpha, high-value man who does nothing but slay all day and night. Nothing could be further from the truth, obviously. But that is precisely the reason this community exists in the first place. Men are frustrated for many reasons, not the least of which is their lack of success with the opposite sex. Now, being the logical creatures we are, we go looking for answers and possible solutions. And if a man looks hard enough, he will inevitably find men-centric content like this. Now, what men do with this newfound knowledge clearly varies from man to man, right? Like some men take to it right away and begin improving their lives almost immediately. I think I probably fall into this camp on some level. Some men completely reject it and continue being frustrated with their lives, and some men get angry and stay this way for quite a long time. Unfortunately, a lot of those guys never really make it out of the anger phase. But the men who are truly dedicated to improving their lives in every way they can are extremely appreciative of men-centric content. Heaven knows that until about 15 years ago, there was nowhere for men to go to find the answers we were looking for. Women have Oprah, Dr. Phil, The View, Cosmopolitan Magazine, right? Women have endless options in terms of finding solutions to the challenges their lives present. Abba and Preach talked about this on their channel not too long ago. What do men have? Nothing. Until, of course, this particular community came into existence. And think about it. Think about it, guys. Ask yourselves this. Where else can men go to find real-world solutions that actually help and benefit their lives? Right? Where can men go to get actionable information and advice to help improve their lives in tangible and intangible ways? Well, the answer is this men's community. Our community is the only place that men can go to find the answers to their problems. This is the only community that gives men the raw and honest truth about the differences between our existence and the female existence. Now, when we first came into existence, our community, we really thrived, right? We were exchanging ideas, finding solutions that really helped a lot of men. Well, somewhere along the way, our egos got the better of us and we started attacking each other. All right? This kind of thing is still happening as we speak, as you can see on the CBP channel. Right? You guys can see that. Not only does this damage the credibility of our community, it hurts the men who could possibly be helped. Why in the world, think about this, why in the world would a recently divorced guy take what we say seriously when we've got guys out here doing 8-hour live streams about how terrible we all are? Huh? Why would any man want to take advice from a community that doxes people, puts people's personal information out? Why would guys listen to what we have to say when there's essentially a civil war going on? Trick question, gentlemen. They wouldn't. The guys who could have been helped are the ones that these kinds of things damage the most. Guys come to this community looking for answers, and if they see a bunch of bickering and fighting like little schoolgirls, they do a 180, and we never see them again. Some of these guys who became disenfranchised in what we talk about here end up like the CBP channel, which brings us full circle to his recent interview with one Cynthia G. Now, first off, I want to make this clear. I have no problem with Cynthia G. I really don't. As far as I'm concerned, she's never disrespected me in any way, at least not that I know of. And as far as I know, I think she's a level up advocate. Like, she's about women leveling up and getting the bag and all that. That's fine. I mean, I may disagree with her, I don't know, fundamentally on a few of her talking points, but by and large, I got no problem with her. Cynthia G is cool with me. She can do whatever she wants to do. But when I found this video entitled "The House Negro Mentality of the Black Blankosphere," I decided to give it a look. And what surprised me was that she had a white guy on her channel talking about black issues. Now, personally, I have no problem with white people talking about black issues or vice versa. I don't care. Now, I know some guys may disagree with that. That's fine with me. I can understand that, right? But I've never had a problem with people of different races discussing issues of other races. But black people, as far as I know, go absolutely mental when a white person weighs in on any black issue. So when I saw this dude being interviewed by Cynthia G and hearing what he was saying, I was surprised. Maybe I'm not as familiar with Cynthia G as I had originally thought, But I wouldn't expect her to have a white guy on talking about this stuff, okay? So let's go ahead and start the video and break this bad boy down. I'm probably going to break down maybe a 3 or a 4 minute segment. Not going to go through all the niceties. We'll just go ahead and get started where the action is.
Or going around and sleeping around and picking up women. And it's like, but you're the ones creating the single mothers that you blame society for all of its woes. And that led...
Yeah, see, there is his first female argument. He's like, all this trash about, single mothers, this and that. But then you go out and preach that you should sleep with women. Yeah, what's the one thing that we tell guys, listen, if you're going to go out there and be a slayer, protect your seed, wrap your junk. The reproductively irresponsible men this guy's talking about are not the guys here. Nice try.
Led me to the black manosphere. And that was a completely different kettle of fish as well, because every video, like I came into contact with Kevin Samuels, right? I found his channel. And every video, he's attacking black women. He sometimes frames it as just, quote...
Okay. Every video, he's attacking black women. Kevin Samuels doesn't attack anyone. Okay? He simply tells the truth about the state of modern women. And predictably, modern women don't like it. Guys, this is one of the fundamental differences between the average man and the average woman here in the 21st century. Most men, we can take constructive criticism. Most men are capable of hearing something about ourselves that is very difficult to hear, but not take it personally. I'll use myself as an example. Back when I weighed over 300 pounds, a buddy of mine said to me, hey, you're a fat ass, okay? You can complain about your life all you want to, but most of your problems, Donovan, are a direct result of you being overweight. I didn't take that personally at all because I knew he was right. I knew I was a fat ass. I was lazy, I was undisciplined, and I was not interested in watching what I ate. Well, then I found this community. Guess what? It was the same thing. I was told that I was weak-willed. I was told that I supplicated to women. I was told that I did not hold women accountable for treating me poorly. That was very hard for me to hear. But again, this information hit the bullseye. Kevin Samuels is merely telling modern women what they need to be told. They've never been told by a man of Kevin's stature that in order to qualify for men like him, that they need to make a few changes. For 3+ decades, gentlemen, modern women have been told that they deserve high-value men regardless of their fitness level. They've been told that even though they have multiple children by multiple men, that they still qualify for the high-value men they want. Kevin, he just straight up tells these women, no, you do not qualify. You are average at best. That's not attacking women. That is simply telling them the truth about themselves. And unlike men, most modern women take offense to the truth. If it hurts their feelings, they feel attacked. And one of the main reasons Kevin is the biggest star on YouTube right now is because he's the avatar. Kevin Samuels is the avatar, people. He's the guy women are chasing. But he is telling them they don't qualify and they don't like it. They like it even less when he tells them what they have to do in order to qualify. They don't like being told that they need to improve their fitness level. They don't like being told that their children severely damage their dating prospects. They don't like being told what they need to hear. This is exactly why modern women characterize Kevin's message as an attack on women. Well, this CBP guy, who clearly thinks like a female, echoes that sentiment. Kevin's not attacking anyone. He is simply telling them the truth. Only a female would characterize what Kevin does as attacking
women, but he always frames it as black women. That's also another big thing. And all of his little, I call them house Negroes, all the little guys that simp for him, all of...
Woo! Uh-oh, let's rewind that.
Thing. And all of his little, I call them house Negroes, all the little guys that simp for him.
Okay, so now we have reached the flashpoint. A white guy calling black men house Negroes. Now, listen, I'll be honest with you guys. This didn't bother me at all. It honestly, it didn't make me bristle, didn't bother me at all. And the reason this didn't bother me is that this guy has no idea what a house Negro is. No idea. He just used it to be provocative, but he used it incorrectly. And I'm not sure he realizes that he used it incorrectly. A house Negro, or what they used to call a house nigger, that is a slave who lives in the slave owner's house and were required to do the slave owner's bidding. From domestic labor, like cooking, cleaning, to being a sexual slave, the house Negro did what the slave owner wanted, and in return, lived in the slave owner's house or in the slave owner's quarters. This guy has no idea that he grossly misused this term. I think his intent was to enrage guys like us, but I'm not tripping. Then he says all the little guys that simp for him. This is another term he misused. A simp is simply a man who gives undeserving women his time, his attention, and his resources. That's it. It's that simple. Giving women your time, attention, and access to your resources without her having earned it is the very definition of simping. This dude just said that men simp for Kevin Samuels. This proves how out of touch he is, and puts his sheer ignorance on full display for all the world to see. This guy's out of pocket. This guy's way out of pocket. He's using terms he has no business using because he simply does not understand what they mean.
All of these buck dancing guys that constantly spam at Kevin Samuels in the title, constantly trying to suck up to Kevin Samuels. They're all denigrating black women.
Okay, now he does have a point here. Okay, Kevin Samuels has become an industry. He has become an industry, and because of this, there is no shortage of guys spamming his name to get more views, right? Now, I'm not in that camp because I've known Kevin for years, right? I mean, I've known him for years. He's one of my best friends. I actually talked to him for about an hour, which is why I'm a little bit late. I have had Kevin on my channel more times than I can count since way back in 2017. And it's weird. I will admit that sometimes I feel a little guilty for putting his name in the title, you know? I don't want him to feel like I'm using him. Kevin's a good friend of mine. I don't want him to feel like I'm using him to get more views. But a few days ago, he called me up and basically said, hey, man, look, talk about my videos, right? I know you and you know me. He said, look, put my name in your titles, man. Like, we go way back. It's all right. It's all good. So I do understand this guy's point of view about using Kevin's name for views, especially the guys who have never collaborated with him. I get it. And he's not Aussie, guys. He's a Kiwi. He is from New Zealand. Now, as far as denigrating black women, there is some truth to what he is saying here as well. A lot of black men are disenfranchised with black women and vice versa. There's no doubt about it. And so they jump on the bandwagon and live vicariously through Kevin and use him as, I guess, more or less a proxy to attack black women. Now, let's make this distinction again. Let's make this distinction one more time, okay? Pointing out unflattering truths about women, regardless of race, is not attacking them. Yes, there are some content creators who attack black women, right? They're not offering constructive criticism. They're not talking about the real issues. All they want to do is throw slings and arrows at sisters. I get it. So even though this guy is really talking out of his ass, I'm not going to sit here and say that what he just said doesn't contain at least a little bit of truth. I will give credit. Where what credit is due. Let's continue.
Yet one thing I've noticed about these guys is if you say one cross word to them, if you refer to them as house Negroes, they're like, oh, he's being racist, which of course I'm not. It's like some of my favorite icons from history.
Yeah, but you have to, I mean, this is the thing. It sounds a certain way. It does.
Yeah, it does sound a certain way.
Now, I'm glad Cynthia stepped in and checked this guy, right? I'm glad she stepped in and checked this guy. He said it once, she let it slide. He said it again, she had to step in. Now, do I believe this guy is racist? No, okay? Like, this guy is too stupid. He's too dumb to be racist. The fact that he thinks a house Negro is someone who supports the message of Kevin Samuels, that tells you all you need to know about his intelligence level, right? That said, Cynthia was right to step in and check him and let him know, look, even though you're not a racist, even though you're not a racist, making that statement kind of makes you look and sound like one. She had to step in and let him know. She had to make him aware, right?
It sounds a certain way. I mean, I feel you, but it sounds a certain way.
Right.
It really do.
Totally. and that's why they...
It hit hard when you said.
She said, all right, Cynthia, I'll never use the word house Negro again. It's a bad New Zealand accent.
Look, I'm sorry. That's just how I looked at these guys. These guys that are just totally dusty, attacking black women. And I'm looking at these guys and I'm thinking, but you are not high-value men. You guys are just these low-value men that got sent your own way. And they're constantly calling themselves high-value.
Okay. So now it's clear. He is, how can I put this? He's talking about content creators. He's lumping in content creators with our audiences, right? He'll make a statement about Kevin Samuels, then turn around and say, you're not high value. No, Kevin is high value. Kevin is the avatar. So for this guy to keep going back and forth just tells me that he's making blanket statements, right? All he is doing is pandering to modern women, guys. He's not offering solutions. He's not offering advice. All he is doing is throwing shade at the men these women want, but then calling them dusty and not high value. He also used a female term that a lot of our detractors like to use when he said, you were sent your own way, right? They say men going their own way. No, you're not going your own way. You were sent their own way. I actually heard that for the first time on Coach Greg Adams' channel. And you guys got to go subscribe to his channel. Like the thing he did on the praying mantis yesterday, man, he had me pissing in my pants. That dude is crazy. That dude is stupid. You guys got to check that out. Now, I don't consider myself to be an MGTOW, right? In fact, there are a lot of guys in this community who do not consider themselves to be MGTOW. But this guy, once again, is lumping us all under the same definition, okay? He is using the lowest common denominator, the worst example of the audiences, and basing his opinions on that, okay? What he is describing are guys like MGTOW Dictionary, okay? Guys who hide behind an avatar and talk shit all day, okay? He is purposely using the lowest value men as a referendum on this entire community. In his mind, what he is saying is accurate, but only because he's talking about the guys who are low value, guys who do have little to no character.
High value men, and I just couldn't understand it. So that's basically how I came into contact with these guys.
Yeah. What was one of the biggest differences? Because you said that was a whole different beast than, the white manosphere. And of course, that is where the black manosphere got it from. Like, they copied it from the white manosphere. They basically took the blueprint. What was one of the biggest differences that you noticed between the black manosphere versus what you saw among the white truckers who were just talking about women?
And Cynthia G just did it again right here. She is characterizing the white manosphere as a bunch of white truckers talking trash about women. Okay, she knows that's nowhere close to true, but she wants everybody to believe that she believes what she thinks it really is, to give herself permission to speak negatively about this community. Now, don't get me wrong. Like all communities, there is always a subset of extremely disenfranchised individuals. But to characterize the entire community based on, again, the lowest common denominator, it is transparent, it's predictable, and it's childish. Cynthia G is smarter than that.
Well, probably the biggest difference is that the white manosphere would talk about just women, whereas the black manosphere would say black women. And the thing is, right, when they would talk about white women, they wouldn't say, well, white women. They would just talk about women. That would be their analogy that they would use. Whereas with black women, they would say, they would specifically point out the black women, but name the same flaws. And I kind of felt that maybe there was some sort of internalized self-loathing there. That's kind of the sense that I got. I feel that a lot of these guys in the black men.
Hang on a second. Wait a minute. Wait. Hold on. I gotta rewind that. I didn't catch that the first time.
They would specifically point out the black women, but name the same flaws. And I kind of felt that maybe there was some sort of internalized like self-loathing there. That's kind of the sense that I got. I feel that a lot of these guys in the black manosphere, I feel that a lot of them have a combination of narcissism and an inferiority complex at the same time. And that
oh my God, dude, give me a break. Listen, this is one of the main problems modern women have. This guy is sitting here using he's using word salad and using the kind of terms that psychiatrists and doctors use. He's a white guy with a foreign accent using big words. And the women watching this are too stupid to realize that this guy has no idea what he's talking about. Yeah, Lance Vance in the chat says, I feel. Right. Listen, guys, I'm no doctor. But how the hell can you be narcissistic and have an inferiority complex at the same time? Like that is a misnomer wrapped in an oxymoron. This guy is overcomplicating things. There is nothing complicated about the difference between the white manosphere and the black manosphere. The white manosphere and they're focused on non-black women. The black manosphere is focused on black women. End of discussion. This doesn't have anything to do with some sort of deep psychological blah, 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 blah. Dude, guys like this who try to sound smarter than they are, they always end up revealing themselves as people with extremely low intelligence. Give me a break.
That's a very dangerous mix when you have these guys that have a kind of narcissistic attitude, like I'm better than everybody. But you can tell they have an inferiority complex, because at the end of the day, it's like they complain that average women have unrealistic.
You see what he just did there? That made absolutely zero sense. No sense whatsoever. First, he's talking about simultaneously being a narcissist and having an inferiority complex, to talking about how dangerous that is, and now he wants to talk about the average woman's unrealistic expectations? He didn't explain why narcissistic men with an inferiority complex are dangerous. He didn't explain that. He simply said that it was dangerous. And when he knew that he needed to explain why, that's when he shifted gears and is now talking about something completely unrelated, which are the unrealistic expectations of modern women. Look, man, I don't know this dude personally, and I probably never will, okay? But this guy is every bit the charlatan, the grifter that he accuses guys like us of being. All this dude is doing is pandering to a desperate, gullible demographic. What he's doing is really no different than what Derek Jackson does, right? That's all he's doing. He is trying to win the affections of a subset of women who are desperate. You see, he tried to make a name for himself. Look at this channel. He tried to make a name for himself talking trash about guys like me. But because that hasn't taken off, now he's decided to pander to black women to build his brand. That, my friends, is the very definition of a grifter. Guys like this accuse guys like me of being a grifter. No, wrong. I've been in this community since 14, damn near 8 years, and my message has never changed. There may be elements that have changed a little bit fundamentally, just as a natural byproduct of getting older, but I am exactly who I was when I came into this community. I didn't say to myself, well, this isn't working, so let me try something else. No. My objective from the start was to help men become the very best versions of themselves. It's taken me nearly 8 years to build this thing into what it is today, and I took no shortcuts. This guy did a few videos bashing content creators like myself and figured out very quickly that it's not getting him anywhere. Okay? There's one content creator who does nothing but bash other content creators. His channel ain't taken off. There's one content creator who used to have a convention who has now joined their side. He's going to have that same fate. Right? So he decided to reach out to Cynthia G to do this bullshit interview with him running off at the mouth about shit he knows nothing about. This guy is just running his mouth. It is literally psychobabble. None of it makes sense. His points are all over the place, and he is intent upon getting kudos from the chat. That's all he is doing this for.
High standards. But if they were these high-value men that they preach that they are, then why would you be so upset that average-looking women have high standards. It's because you think that that's the best you can get.
Because you think that's the best you can get? Guys, look, man. All this dude is doing is bashing black men. That's it. This white guy on a black woman's channel is bashing black men. And those black women can't get enough. What he just said, again, made absolutely zero sense. He is saying the reason high-value men are concerned about the unrealistic expectations of average women, and it's because that's the best they can get. Let me let you in on a little secret here, CBP. The average man is invisible to the average woman. Most men would sleep with most women, while most women would not sleep with most men. That's the truth. Here's another secret. Above average men and even exceptional high-value men still don't make the grade for average women. We got women that go onto the Fresh and Fit podcast talking about, I don't have time for a guy who makes only $80,000 a year. Only 80 grand a year? What? The reason high-value men are concerned about the unrealistic standards of average and below average women is because the dating market has been globalized. There are scores of high-value men who can't get so much as a look in their direction because Instagram and dating apps have given women endless options. The expectations of women are so unrealistic that even high-value men don't qualify. That's why they're concerned. It has nothing to do with them thinking that's the best they could get. And if that really is their thinking, what's that say about the women? This guy has positively no idea what he's talking about. All he is doing is running off at the mouth, trying to get likes. That's it. If you really think about what he's saying, it's just a bunch of babble.
So with regards to the white manosphere and the black manosphere, the difference between the two is that the white manosphere, sometimes they do. Like I've seen video titles like The State of White Women. I've seen guys do like videos like that. But I've noticed that with the white man, and I don't mean to like differentiate that they're two separate different things because there is some overlap there. But the difference is the black manosphere are always talking about what's wrong with black women, whereas the white manosphere are usually talking about what's wrong with women per se. And that seems to be it. And like I said, a lot of internalized self, it's almost like they fetishize white women. That's the thing I've noticed as well. Some of these guys will fetishize white women.
Wow.
And it's like, well, hang on a second.
Fetishizing. That is such a tired argument. It's such a tired argument, man. Here's the bottom line, guys. Here's the bottom line. Listen, let's just keep it a stack. The bottom line is that the average white girl is far more feminine than the average black woman. That's it. Those are facts. That's all there is to it. This is exactly why the top 5% of black men are married to or are in relationships with non-black women. That's it. It's femininity. It's respect. It's deference. Femininity, gentlemen, true femininity is so powerful that a man's reaction to something they aren't used to getting from black women looks like they're fetishizing it. The lack of true femininity is so debilitating that once black men start dating outside their race, one could only describe their reaction as fetishizing. But that's not our problem. That's not our problem. The black men who date out, we don't give a damn about what people say about our choices in women. Call us whatever you want. We're good. I'm solid. Right? I do not take offense to black men and black women who like to throw shade on me for having a white girlfriend. I don't. Because at the end of the day, I know my relationship is a hell of a lot more peaceful than theirs.
You're fetishizing them. What does that say about you as a person? There seems to be a lot of, like they can't accept who they are, maybe. I don't know. There's so many of them and they have such varying psychology, but that seems to be what I've picked up on.
Mm-hmm.
So, that was actually a question from one of my members, since we're on this subject, because I agree there was somebody I was watching, and this is a sidebar, and they were trying to bring the argument that, white men denigrate their women like black men do. And, I said, no, from what I've seen, they will complain about women, but they will never actually target their own women. They will never say white women are this, that, and the third, nor do they talk about white women's features that are identifiable as her being a white woman, yet black men do all the time. So one of my subs wanted to know, what do you think about, seeing black men sit up and glorify, specifically white women while demeaning black women, the very ones that they came from?
The very ones that they came from. You guys catch that? The very ones that they came from. You guys see that subliminal messaging, right? Black men denigrate black women, the very ones they came from. No, Cynthia. Black men don't denigrate black women. Black women denigrate themselves. Black men pointing out unflattering truths about the state of black women is not denigrating. The denigration comes with their lack of femininity. Secondly, just because I come from a black woman does not mean I owe a black woman. If you were to ask a black woman who dates outside of her race or swirls, if she felt guilty for dating a non-black man even though her father is black, they would tell you, of course not. Yes, my father is black, but that doesn't mean I owe anything to black men. I don't belong to them. You guys want to know something? Those women would be 100% right. Black women don't owe black men a goddamn thing. Not a thing. But the pendulum swings both ways. Black men don't owe black women anything either. Black women seem to be the only race, correct me if I'm wrong here, black women seem to be the only race that feels entitled to black men simply because they give birth to black men. Ladies, I got news for you. Your kids do not belong to you. You do not own them. You don't own your sons, ladies. Your son does not have to date a black woman simply because you are his mother. He is his own person, and he will make his own choices. Black women, I'll never understand this. Black women honestly feel that they own us. Yet, when the shoe is on the other foot, nigga, I don't owe you nothing. Real talk, y'all can miss me with this, you came for me so you owe me. Giving birth to black men does not make you above reproach from black men. I will never understand this mentality. I will never understand this mentality, guys. I never will. I don't get it.
Like, when you guys see that, and when I say you guys, I'm saying white guys, of course.
Yeah, Marby Dog in the chat says Sunsbins, exactly.
What do you think about that when you see that?
So with regards to that, so I don't know exactly what the psychology behind that is, but what I have noticed this trend where I think what happened.
Notice this trend because of all of your experience in America. Shout out to SW247 at 17 you in a while.
Is that a lot of these black men, right? They had an experience with a black woman, and because there's so much maybe self-awareness with a black woman, and I've noticed this trend where I think what happened is that a lot of these black men, right? They had an experience with a black woman.
No, Mr. Kiwi, it makes absolutely no sense.
And because there's so much maybe self-awareness over their ethnicity, maybe there's so much self-awareness on that level. Perhaps what it is that they've had an experience with a black woman, but because there's so much societal narratives around the black community, maybe they internalize that as a racial thing. Whereas maybe with white men, they don't see white women as white women; they just see them as women. And I'm not sure if this is answering the question or not, but I think maybe a lot of it surrounds the narrative of the culture that they live in.
What?
Does that make sense, or is that not right?
No! It doesn't make sense. It makes absolutely no sense. It's all over the place. Once again, this guy is just talking in circles and trying to appease an audience. First off, No black man has one experience with a black woman and then decides he wants to date out. No, he has many experiences with many black women and decides based on his experiences, plural, that he wants to date out. Secondly, he says maybe they internalize it as a racial thing. Again, he's trying to outthink the room and sound smarter than he is. What this guy is saying, just level with me, what this guy is saying is that black men date out. Black men who date out only do so because society tells them to, right? He blames our choice to date out on this narrative, as if to imply that we are being controlled by the media. There are many, many black men who decide to date out for many reasons. But the one thing that we all have in common is that we gave black women the right of first refusal. In other words, black women were almost always our first choice. But the lack of femininity, among other things, is one of the biggest reasons black men date out. To suggest that we are just zombies, controlled by a narrative that subliminally says, black men, you must date snow bunnies. You must marry the white woman. That's fucking ridiculous. We make our own choices based on our own experiences, not some ridiculous narrative.
Really answering the question.
Well, it has become a culture, though. It has become a culture, and it is internalized self-hatred, because on my last stream...
Self-hatred. Here we go. Here we go. If you don't date black women, if you date white girls, it's because you hate yourself. You know, it's interesting. It's interesting. When a black woman gets with, let's say, a white guy, she has to change everything. She's got to change everything. She got to change the way she talks. She's got to change the way she walks. She can't let him find out. She can't let him find out she's got 3 kids. No, sir. She can't let him find out about DeMarcus, baby mom number 1, LaMarcus, baby daddy number 2, and Steve, baby daddy number 3. Can't let him find out about them niggas. No, sir. White women have to pretend they like the Kardashians. White women have to pretend they like pumpkin spice latte. White women have to completely change their entire persona to feel accepted by a white guy. Black men, we ain't got to change a goddamn thing. We ain't got to change nothing. Nope. White girls take us exactly as who we are. We don't have to change nothing. Everything that black women try to do to be more attractive. They try the blonde hair. They try the contact lenses. They try skin lightening products. This is sad. This is really sad. Do black men, do we do skin lightening products? Do we dye our hair blonde? Huh? Do we do color contacts? Do we try to become Brad? No. No. Black men, we don't try to become Brad. But black women stay trying to become Becky. Now you tell me who has self-hatred. The black man who's not trying to become Brad, or the black woman trying to become Becky? Self-hate. No, the self-hate comes from the black women because they literally try everything they can superficially to meet the white man's standard. But the one thing they do not do, the one thing they do not embrace is the most difficult thing and is the very reason why the highest value black men date outside their race once they make it. Femininity. Sisters, you can dye your hair, you can lighten your skin, you can do color contacts, you can pretend to like soy, chai, 17-syllable drinks at Starbucks. None of that matters. Black men want feminine women. When black men date outside our race, we're not dating white girls because they're white girls. No, we're dating them because they're feminine. That's why. Selfie.
Live stream, a white guy, he called in. He was from, the States like me. And I asked him a similar question as to, I asked them, why is it that they don't demean and degrade white women's image publicly? And he immediately said, because if we did, we would be demeaning ourselves. So he immediately saw himself as an extension of his women, which is normal.
No, that is not normal, Cynthia. It is not normal for a man to see himself as an extension of our women. Not normal. No. Women are an extension of us. The black community is a shit show. That is apparent in the actions of our women. Of women. Right? This is the problem, and this is actually the problem with a lot of women. A lot of women really believe that their men are an extension of them. Black women commit this crime all the time. My man is an extension of me. Yeah, that's a negative. And if he is, you're going to end up cheating on him with someone who thinks the opposite.
I think the largest issue is that black men have attempted to separate themselves from black women, despite the fact that we give birth to them.
See, there we go again. There we go again. You owe us. We give birth to you. We give birth to you, so you owe it to us to date us. Negative. Negative. I heard this all the time. Yo, mama black. Not trying to fuck my mom, y'all. Real talk. Real talk. You want to know why? Let's just, you know what? Let me just go ahead and just keep it real here. Let me just, and I've talked about this before. I mentioned this in a previous podcast, and I'm going to read super chats here in a second. Mentioned this in a previous podcast. Why it is that black women and white men lose their you-know-whats when their black sons and white daughters date outside their race. O'Shea Duke Jackson, man, there's no love lost between us. But dude, one of quite a few things that I agree with him on is that the most racist people in America are black women and white men. You see, when a black woman's son dates white girls or dates outside his race, they see this as a personal rejection. It's a personal rejection, right? When Jamal is out on a date with Stephanie instead of LaQuanda, mom's is feeling some type of way. She's feeling some type of way. Why wouldn't she? She has every right to feel that way, right? Well, the reason why mom is feeling some type of way is because it is her son telling her in no uncertain terms that you were not the female role model I needed you to be. You see, regardless of race, men, regardless of race, we are attracted to femininity. We are attracted to girly girls, women who act like women, right? The average black person, the average black man is raised by a black woman. Most black people are raised by black women. And so he's raised around his mother who is not really displaying femininity. He doesn't know that this is the case. He doesn't know that his mother is not displaying femininity because he's never really experienced femininity on that level, right? So he gets to high school, right? He dated a couple of girls in middle school, right? Dated a girl named Cassandra Harris. I may or may not be talking about myself, right? Oh my God, what was her name? Forgot. I remember Cassandra Harris. Dated girls like that, right? But then when he gets to high school, maybe he moves to North Carolina and he meets this blonde-haired, green-eyed girl, and there's something about her that draws him to her. That's called femininity. That's called femininity. Our biology, our biological objective, our biological imperative,
and so I
is supposed to be is to be drawn to femininity. Hang on, I got to switch headphones. Sit tight. Got to switch them. I ran out of juice on the beats. Our natural instinct is to be drawn to feminine women. This is just what we are attracted to. Femininity attracts masculinity and vice versa. Well, Jamal's entire life, he's only been exposed to women like his mother. He never thought it was a bad thing, right? He never thought, what's wrong with my mom? That's all he knows. But if the very first time he experiences femininity and it comes from a white girl, mom knows she's in trouble. Let's go to the other side. The reason why white fathers lose their shit when their white daughters start dating dudes like Jamal, is because they know they didn't cut either. The typical white girl who only dates black guys has a weak father. She watched her father get bossed around and emasculated by her white mother. She saw this the whole time. She didn't know that there was anything wrong with it. She thought that this was just the way it is. She thought that that is absolutely just the way it is. But then she actually meets someone who displays a little bit of masculinity. You understand what I mean here, guys? If the first time a black boy experiences femininity and he sees it from a white girl, that's it. If the first time a white girl, a white daughter experiences real masculinity, it's from a black boy, they're both lost. That's all there is to it. Like attracts like. Call it self-hate, call it whatever you want. But just because your mother is black does not mean you are obliged to date black women.
I do think that, but I think you would have to, in your mind, separate yourself. But it's not respectable. Like, do you guys look at black men as respectable when they sit up and demean and degrade black women, when you guys know how important it is to understand that your women are an extension of you?
See, there it is. Women are an extension of you. See, she switched up. She just said that men are an extension of women, but then she says women are an extension of you.
Well, absolutely, because the thing is, right, and I apologize for using that term, but the reason why I used it before is what I see when I see people like Kevin Samuels, right, and I see these men who are basically putting these black women up on their streams, and just it reminds me of a symbolic public execution.
Oh,
and I
give me up.
Guys,
really? Are you serious? It reminds me, it's symbolic of a public execution. Oh my God. Listen, Mr. Kiwi, it ain't that serious. All he is doing now is just saying it for shock value. You guys should actually see the comments as this guy's talking. All these women in there, oh my God, preach! Oh, preach! I can promise you this guy was all up in the comments as he was talking.
Guys throwing all of this shade at, quote, black women. It reminds me of those guys that would worship their slave master and they would betray their own women. That's what it reminds me of.
Whoa! Wow! Slow down. So whoa. Hey, whoa. Slow down. Number one, Jimmy and Dallas beat me to it. These women call in voluntarily. That's the first thing. Number two, to compare Kevin Samuels telling modern women the truth about themselves, to compare that to being a traitor, serving the massa, and betraying his own women, that's ridiculous. Like, dude, come on. It's not that serious, man. He's trying to make it serious because he's trying to make a name for himself, but dude, like, what are we doing? Jesus Christ.
And I can't help but have this perception. These women are just trying to find their way in the world. It's like they're putting themselves.
These women are just trying to find their way in the world. As if these women are above reproach. Listen, they don't mean anybody any harm. They're just trying to find their way in the world. Yeah, how's that working out? How's that working out? You see, for years and years, these women listened to guys like Derek Jackson. I don't care if you 250 pounds. I don't care if you 250 pounds, girl. You deserve the highest value man you can get. Listen, single moms for grown men only. Who cares if you got 5 kids by 5 different niggas? That's his fault. If he can't accept you for who you are, then he don't deserve you. If he can't handle you at your worst, he don't deserve you at your best. Sister girl. Derek Jackson hurts these women, and women are finally figuring it out. They would rather subject themselves to the embarrassment that comes with being on Kevin Samuels than to listen to nonsense that Derek Jackson tells these women all the time.
You know, through university, they're trying to do all of these things to ascend in life. And then you have these guys that for whatever reason, they think, no, these black women should submit to my masculinity.
For whatever reason. You see how he just dismisses that? And no black man ever says that black women have to submit to my masculinity. He keeps trying to personalize it.
And as I've pointed out on previous live streams, these men don't have any masculinity to submit to.
Oh my God. I swear to God, dude. This dude absolutely they don't have any masculinity to submit to. Oh, Lord Jesus. This white boy preaching. Unbelievable.
They're basically just these guys that, if you look at the income difference, if you look at the average household income of a black man, I actually personally don't believe in the idea that women should submit to men.
And there's the problem right there. Nothing else he said before then matters after he said that. I personally don't think that women should submit to men. Well, there's a problem right there. There's a problem right there. You see, every relationship needs polarity, right? Every relationship needs polarity. It's very difficult for two people who are similar in personality to be together. Clearly, I'm a type A personality. No question about that. I'm gregarious, I'm outgoing, I have a very dynamic, high-octane, social, extroverted personality, right? Devin is quite literally the opposite. Devin is demure, she's quiet, she doesn't like the spotlight, she'd rather be in the background, right? But Dev clearly understands that in order to have a successful relationship, you must submit. Now, to this guy's credit, there are a lot of guys out there who want women to submit to them. There's nothing to submit to, right? But this dude lost all credibility when he said, personally, I don't think women should submit to men in the first place.
These men believe that that's their role, that's what women should be doing. They should be submitting to men.
That is because they should be, Mr. CBP. That's because they should be. All right, I'll continue this in a second. Let me read off some of these super chats. This is incredible. This guy is so full of shit. Lord Sinister, $5, says, nobody owes anybody anything. I could not have said that better myself. Sonic the Hedgehog, $5, says, hey guys, I want you to play Dreamcast and Sega. Play me, I am Sonic. If you guys miss the good old days, then play me. All right. Wow, Dreamcast, that's way back in the day. Shy Guy, Fly Guy, File Guy, $10, appreciate that. Lord Sinister, $5, says, so when women demean men in the open, is that demeaning themselves? Right, exactly. Stephen Ortiz, $20, says, I cannot believe the bleep that this guy says. Dude, you can't believe it. Let's continue.
So they're like, oh, these black women, they need to respect my masculinity. But I look at their economic circumstances, their cultural circumstances, like some of the people that you've roasted on your channel, and I think these men don't have any masculinity to submit to. I don't understand how they can have this ego about themselves, and they can pretend like they're all of this, all of that.
Well, easily. Because I make in the high 6 figures. I've built now my 3rd successful business, and nobody can tell me nothing. That's how.
It's like there's this one guy I know who he doesn't have a job. He sits there on YouTube every day begging for begging for super chats from like 100 viewers.
Ooh.
And does a whole bunch of cryptocurrency flim-flamming. And he's constantly complaining that black women aren't being submissive enough. And that's kind of what I'm talking about. It's this idea, sorry, I don't know if my mic cut out then. It's this idea that they should submit to them when there's nothing there to submit to. Like, why would
Okay, he has said that now 3 times. We get it. Let's move on.
a woman want to quit her university degree or quit her job to go live with one of these guys that sits around basically hating his own women?
See, do you see all of the hyperbole and the crossover? CBP, a woman is not going to quit going to school to go live with an ain't shit nigga. Women aren't doing that. Women are not doing that. Ain't shit niggas aren't the ones out here demanding submission. No, it's the high value men. This guy keeps cross-referencing different socioeconomic statuses. It doesn't work that way. He's taking the best parts of what he wants to talk about and marrying it with the worst parts he wants to talk about. Does not work that way. It does not work that way.
And that's why I have such harsh terminology to some of these guys, because they are essentially betraying their own women. And I have.
And how are we betraying our own women? How are we betraying our own women? By seeking out better options? No, Mr. CBP. No, our mothers betrayed us. The first woman to break a black man's heart is always his mother. Always, dude, it is always his mother. When I started dating white girls, I didn't think to myself, you know what? My mother was not a very good example of the way a woman should be. I think I will date white women. No, it's just kind of what my instincts told me to do. It's just what my instincts told me to do. It's the same with the white girls. They don't say, you know what? My dad was a weak, spineless piece of nothing who got pushed around by my mom. I think I'll go date black boys. No, they're just naturally predisposed to be attracted to the strongest men. If the strongest man in her life is weak, she's going to gravitate to other races, right? In a black man's world, if his mother is not the epitome of femininity, he's going to find someone who is. That's just the way of it.
Such low views of some of these black manosphere dudes that denigrate people like that.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to see them do well. I don't want to see them spitting all of this hatred and committing these symbolic public executions of their own women.
Symbolic executions. Nope. Nope. The black woman's worst enemy is herself. It's herself. Black women have nobody to blame but themselves. They are the reason why they are where they are. They're the reason. And the sooner they start putting the blame on themselves and stop blaming us, the better off we'll all be.
I don't like seeing Kevin Samuels get up there and essentially what he does.
Well, then do something about it.
Is he advances the narratives of people who genuinely are racist. If you look at people who
God. Are you
serious like white
with
people
this dude?
who are racist towards black people as a whole, all of the Kevin Samuels talking points fits within that narrative.
What? You know what? I don't think this guy watches Kevin Samuels. Call me crazy. I don't think this guy watches Kevin Samuels. Because what he is talking about, that is... So he's saying that Kevin Samuels, all of his talking points, perpetuate the racism. So now Kevin Samuels is a racist against his own women? Look, I'm going to tell you what, man. One thing that Kevin probably won't appreciate me saying this. One thing about Kevin that I know, Kevin loves him some black women. He loves him some black women. Okay? The women that he associates with on that level, these are some bad bitches, y'all. Dude, yo, Kevin sends me the pictures of these are the baddest, hottest black women I've ever seen. Now, see, here's the thing. Kevin is too humble He's too humble to get here. Listen, I date black women. He doesn't have to do that. He doesn't feel like he has to do that. Kevin's not going to say it, so I will. Kevin bags some badass black women. Real dude. Real talk. Real talk. Dude, Kevin has a harem of motherfucking baddies. You better, believe that. Believe that. Kevin loves him some sisters, and sisters love them some Kevin. I'll just leave it at that. Listen, anybody who thinks that Kevin Samuels is racist and doesn't like dating sisters, all right, cool. This doesn't mean, listen, this isn't to say that Kevin can't date outside his race, because trust me, Kevin most certainly does. But I'm gonna tell you what. There's some bad bitches in Kevin's phone. I'm gonna have to turn off my phone after the live stream, because I know Kevin's gonna be like, yo, I told you not to say nothing about that. My bad, Kevin. Didn't mean to put you out there like that. But he fucks with some bad bitches.
That black women, I'm not even gonna repeat the things that they think.
Oh my God.
What he does is he supports those talking points, those false narratives.
What false narratives? Be specific.
That's the contempt that I have. I look at powerful black men throughout history that stood up for their people and think, man, those men must be turning in their graves at what they're seeing.
Yeah, they're turning in their graves with what they're seeing, because they are seeing the deplorable state of black women. Listen, man, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to sit here and say that black women are the only ones responsible for the deplorable state that are relations between black women and black men. Listen, a lot of ancient niggas out here. I'm not going to cap on that, right? Got a lot of Pookies and Ray Rays out here running around, right? But let's not pretend that black women are these feminine, docile creatures above reproach. There's no way this guy watches Kevin Samuels. There it is. Lord Sinister said no, KS doesn't. He doesn't watch any of Kevin Samuels' show. He watches clips and ignores what he doesn't like. That's it. He doesn't actually watch Kevin Samuels. He watches people who talk about Kevin Samuels in a negative way. He is basing his opinion on somebody else's opinion. Actually sounds like what women do, actually.
From these weak men, these men that are slaves
weak men
to their anger. They're slaves to their hurt feelings. There's something seriously wrong with them.
Yeah, of course.
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Honestly, like there is. And I think that
And listen, I wouldn't expect Cynthia G to, listen, Cynthia G feels some type of way about brothers. It is what it is, man. That's who she is. So what Cynthia G is saying here, that's not surprising. It is what it is.
The reason the chat box is going crazy, because you're preaching. There is something wrong with them. And, I realize
there is something wrong with us. You know what's wrong with us? Is that black men are no longer settling for less. No longer settling for less. When it comes to dating with black men and black women, black men, we win. We win. We can date out. Black men can date out. We can date any kind of women we want. Black women, not so much. Not so much. Yes, there are black women who can date outside their race, but most black women cannot date outside their race. Most black men can. That's the problem. That's a problem. Let me read a couple of super chats and we'll listen to a little bit more. Tricky Trini with the $5 super chat says, nature abhors a vacuum, and the one left by Derek Jackson needs to be filled one way or another. Bingo. Technomage B5, $20, says, when it comes to life, there are two ways content creators can make money. Tell people what they want to hear or tell the truth. The former validates fixed ideas people want to hold. The latter allows people to improve themselves. There you go. There you go. And listen, no shade on Derek Jackson. Derek Jackson figured out very quickly that it is far more profitable to tell women what they want to hear rather than what they need to hear. Kevin Samuels has destroyed that. Kevin Samuel is he is the biggest content. He's one of the biggest content creators on YouTube now. And it's hard to believe that he is actually doing this, telling women what they need to hear. It's incredible.
There was something wrong with them.
Technomage B5 again. $5 shippers. That says, what? False narratives. Be specific. Yes, DS. Call out the broad generalities. Make him cite sources and examples. If you can't, you're full of it. There you go. All this guy is doing it, just like Technom HB5 says. All this guy is doing is talking in generalities. He's just making blanket statements. No, be specific, bruh.
Because when I first came to YouTube, my content for the first 2 years was 100% black male worship. There was no more important matter than black male issues to me.
Now that I didn't know. So, all right, cool. Listen, I'll give her credit for that.
So that's what I was promoting. And I got attacked by black men. Mm-hmm. And I just paid attention to the way that black men move in these social spaces. Mm-hmm. And I came to the same opinion. There's something wrong with them. And then I noticed that, you know, while there are issues.
So if we don't want women like that, there's something wrong with us. Gotcha.
In society, obviously, we know what the foundation of this country is. Mm-hmm. There are issues that black men are doing that they refuse to address. And rather than address them and be men and compete, they would prefer to attack their women. They would prefer to blame it on welfare or food stamps or the lack of submission or feminism or blue Martians or whatever they could do.
No. I can't let Cynthia get away with that. No. All of those things that she said outside of the blue Martians, those are right. The reason why black women are deplorable is because of welfare. It is because of lack of femininity. It is because of feminism. That's what this is. She says black women don't want to compete. No. Black men don't want to compete for that anymore. It's just not worth it. It's not worth it. Women these days, and this crosses all races, women hate it. They hate that guys are waking up. They hate that they now have to work for what they used to get for nothing. At the end of the day, guys, this CBP guy, he's in way over his head. Okay? He's going to get all sorts of applause from women for being the novel Kiwi who lifts up black women. Right? But I will challenge him to this, CBP. CBP, I challenge you to this. Come to America and date sisters. Come to America and date black women. Date sisters for a good 2-3 years. And then tell me what you think. Tell me what you think after that. You still going to lift up black women after that? Because here's the truth. Black men are in relationships with black women. Those are the facts. 94% of black men are in relationships with black women. So if most black men are in relationships with black women, then why do black women have such a problem with black men who date outside our race? Well, the answer to that, believe it or not, actually transcends race. And that is that the 6% of men who are not in relationships with black women are the top 6%. And those are the men all black women want. That's why they're salty. The highest value black men are in relationships with non-black women. And regardless of race, most women are competing for the top 5 to 6% of men. The bottom 90% of men are invisible to the bottom 90% of women. This includes white women, black women, Asian, Hispanic. That's the real problem. That is the real problem. Average women want nothing to do with above average men. They don't. Average women, the real problem is average women feeling entitled to above average men. And above average men want nothing to do with women who lack femininity, obedience, and submissiveness, regardless of race. They keep wanting to make this a race thing. This has nothing to do with race. This has nothing to do with race. Tricky Trini says, I'll bet you CBP dates Kiwi black women and not American black women and has no idea what they are really like. Man. CBP does not be knowing. He don't be knowing, man. I'm trying to tell you. Fantastic show. Fantastic show. I'm actually, after this live stream, I'm going to take about a 15-minute break. I'm going to come back online. I'm going to open up the phone lines. And I'm going to ask the question, is using makeup, is that catfishing? Is that catfishing? Before I go, the Conference of Masculine Excellence will be held this October 21st through 24th of 2021 in beautiful Dallas, Texas. That's right. The next Conference of Masculine Excellence is less than 4 months from now. The ticket prices will be substantially less, and there are all kinds of bonuses for guys who pick up early bird tickets. You guys are not going to believe the bonuses that are going to come with the early bird ticket. You guys are going to be blown the bleep away. See me too. Dallas, Texas. Tickets go on sale next Friday. Less than a week. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Take about a 15-minute break. Then I'll be right back online with the phone lines open. Asking, is using makeup catfishing? Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in a bit.